The oldest man in my village is past 80. He has never owned a toothbrush or a tube of paste in his life. And his teeth are sound, no rot, no gaps, no bleeding gums. Plenty of people in your city have brushed twice a day for 40 years and cannot say the same. That should bother you enough to ask why. Because the answer is not luck, and it is not special teeth. He does something you do not, and it costs almost nothing. I will give you the whole of it today. What he does, why it works, and the one part of it that the foolish new fashion gets badly wrong and that will quietly wreck your teeth if you copy it. That last part matters more than anything else I say, so stay until it. First, kill a lie that gets in the way. People say my people do not brush. We do. Every day, often twice. We clean our teeth as seriously as anyone. We just never bought your version of it, the plastic handle, the tube. We kept the older way, and the older way works, and that is what I am handing you. My people are the Samburu, in the dry north of Kenya. The shop with the paste was always a long walk away, and still is for most. So like people right across the dry belt of the world, Arabia, the dry parts of India, much of Africa, we clean our teeth with what grows here. And the best of it, the thing to learn first, is the stick. There is a tree the botanists call Salvadora. They have started calling it the toothbrush tree, because that is what it has always been to us. You cut a fresh twig or a piece of root, finger thick, about as long as a pen. Fresh matters. A green stick is soft enough to work and still full of its own juices and medicine. A dried out one has lost both. If yours has dried, soak the end for an hour to revive it. Pick a straight piece without knots, because knots will not fray into bristles. You strip the bark off the last finger's width of one end. Then you chew that end, slowly, the way you soften a tough bit of meat, not biting it like you are angry, until the wood fibers split and splay into a small bundle of soft bristles. That is your brush. Made on a tree, finished by your own teeth in under a minute. Now use it properly, because the tool means nothing if you use it wrong. Work the frayed end over the teeth and, above all, along the line where tooth meets gum. That line is where the trouble starts, where the film hardens and the gum sickens. Do not saw side to side. Sawing carves a groove into the tooth and drives the gum back over the years. People ruin their teeth doing exactly that with a plastic brush. Small circles, short sweeps away from the gum. Get the back teeth, which do the most chewing and get the least attention, and the inside faces, which most people never touch. When the brush end wears out, bite it off, strip more bark, chew a fresh one. One stick lasts days. A brush for nothing, as long as the tree stands. Here is why it beats your brush, not just matches it. A plastic brush is bristles and nothing else. It sweeps, and every bit of the chemical work is left to the paste. The stick does both at once. The wood carries its own bacteria-fighting compounds, a mild antiseptic, things that firm the gum and polish the tooth, and they release into your saliva the whole time you chew and brush. So it scrubs and medicates in the same motion, no tube needed. And this is not my opinion. Dentists put the stick against the brush in real mouths and measured it. It clears plaque as well as the brush, and helps the gums in ways the bare brush cannot. The world's main health body says outright that it is a cheap and genuinely effective way to clean a mouth. The people who sell brushes have admitted the twig is their equal. Sit with that. There is one more thing the stick does that no brush does, and it is worth knowing. Chewing the end of it and using it through the day makes you produce more saliva. And saliva is your mouth's own defense, washing away food, carrying minerals that repair the very first damage to a tooth before it becomes a hole, neutralizing the acid that attacks the enamel after you eat. A dry mouth rots fast, a wet one resists. The brush you use for 2 minutes and put down. The stick people carry and walk all day, and their mouths stay wet and defended the whole time. That is part of why it works as well as it does. A few other things stand beside the stick. The simplest is salt. A little fine salt on a wet finger or on the chewed stick, rubbed over teeth and gums, is sensible. Salt is hostile to bacteria, and salt water firms a sore gum better than almost anything. When a gum is swollen and bleeding, rinse with warm salt water. A pinch in a cup, 2 or 3 times a day, and it settles within days. Use a light hand. Do not scrub with it. A word on that bleeding gum, because people get
When the
it
gums bleed
backwards.
here, it
They
means
see
they are
blood when they
dirty.
clean,
You need to
decide
brush
they are
very
brushing too
gently.
hard, and start avoiding the spot. Wrong. A gum bleeds because it is inflamed from film left sitting along it. It bleeds because it is dirty, not because it is overcleaned. Clean that line gently and faithfully every day, and the bleeding stops in a week or two. But if a gum keeps bleeding for weeks, despite good cleaning, or starts pulling away from the teeth, that is past what a stick can fix. See a dentist, because untreated gum disease is how grown adults lose teeth that never had a single cavity. It is the quiet thing that takes more teeth than rot does, and it gives almost no warning beyond that bleeding you were ignoring. Two more honest things. First, once the soft film on a tooth is left long enough, it hardens into a rough stone. The city calls it tartar, and once it has turned to stone, no stick, no brush, no powder will take it off. Only a trained hand with the right tool removes it, and left on, it is exactly what the gum sickens against. So the stick keeps the soft film from ever hardening if you use it daily. But if hard stone has already built up on your teeth, that has to come off first, by someone trained, and no home method does it. Second, a child's first teeth matter even though they fall out, because rot in them spreads and damages the grown teeth coming up underneath, and teaches a mouth bad habits early. Clean a child's teeth gently from the day they appear, and keep the all-day sugar away from them above all. Where I am from, and across India especially, there is also the neem twig, used exactly like the toothbrush stick. It is brutally bitter because it is one of the strongest bacteria-fighting plants there is. It cleans and floods the mouth with that bitter medicine at once, good for bleeding gums and sour breath. The bitterness stops bothering you within days. If neem grows near you, it is worth knowing. There is also oil pulling. A spoon of clean plain oil, coconut, sesame, swished slowly through the teeth for 10 or 15 minutes, then spat out, all of it, into the bin. Never the sink, never swallowed. And rinse. The bacteria and grease cling to the oil and leave with it when you spit. It is gentle and harmless if you do not swallow it, and most who do it say their mouth feels cleaner for hours. A helper, not a miracle, and no substitute for the cleaning itself. And here is a thing the stick and the brush both miss, and most rot starts exactly there, between the teeth, where two teeth touch, where no bristle and no frayed stick ever reaches. That tight gap traps food and grows bacteria in the dark, and it is the most common place of all for a hole to start, hidden where you cannot see it until it hurts. My people clean there with a thin stripped fiber or a thin twig worked carefully between the teeth. The same idea as the thread the city calls floss. Whatever you use, the lesson is the same. Cleaning the faces of your teeth and ignoring the gaps between them is doing half the job and leaving the worst half undone. Most people who brush religiously and still get holes are getting them between the teeth, for exactly this reason. And since I mentioned sour breath, most bad breath does not come from the stomach, and you cannot fix it with a mint, which only masks it. It comes from bacteria in the mouth, mostly on the back of the tongue, where a pale coating builds up. So clean the tongue, the back of the chewed stick, an upturned spoon, or a scraper, drawn from back to front a few times. You will be disgusted by what comes off, and your breath will be better than any mint can make it. We have always cleaned the tongue. The city forgot it and tried to drown the smell in flavor instead. Before I get to the warning, understand what actually rots a tooth, because no cleaning saves you if you keep feeding the rot. A hole in a tooth is acid eating through the enamel, and that acid is made by the mouth bacteria every time they get sugar. Here is the part people miss. It is not how much sugar, it is how often. A whole sweet eaten at once does less harm than the same sweet nibbled across the whole afternoon, because every separate time sugar touches your teeth, the acid attack runs for a good while after. Sip a sweet drink 10 times across a morning and you have 10 long acid attacks. Drink it down in one go and you have one. The slow sipper, the all-day snacker, the one who nurses a sweet tea, they rot their teeth far faster than someone who eats more sugar, but only at meals. So if you want sound teeth, the cheapest thing you can do, before any stick or paste, is stop feeding sugar to your mouth all day long. Keep it to meals, rinse with plain water after. That alone changes everything. Now slow down, Because here is the part that can actually hurt you, and the new fashion is walking people straight into it while calling it ancestral wisdom. The black powder, charcoal, sold in bright packets and all over your screen as the ancient secret to scrub teeth white. Yes, old peoples use charcoal and ash. Yes, it scrubs, and yes, it lifts a stain. But here is what the sellers never tell you, and it matters more than the rest of this combined. Your teeth are coated in enamel, the hardest thing your body makes, harder than bone. And it is the one thing your body cannot rebuild. Once it is worn off, it is gone for life. Charcoal and ash do not clean by medicine. They clean by scratching. They are abrasive, like fine sand, scouring the surface. Light use now and then does little, but scrubbed on hard every day, the way the fashion tells you, it grinds that irreplaceable enamel away. Dentists have measured this. They have a scale for how much a substance abrades teeth, and they warn that some of these powders wear enamel down like sandpaper. Two things follow, both bad. The tooth gets painfully sensitive because the soft living core is now too close to the surface, and the tooth goes more yellow, not whiter, because the layer under the enamel is yellow, and grinding off the white reveals it. The powder sold to whiten your teeth darkens them for life while wrecking them. No charcoal product has ever earned the dentist's seal of approval, and it carries none of the substance that actually protects against rot. So the rule is simple. If you use a powder at all, keep it gentle and rare. A pinch of fine salt, a mild herb, fine, occasionally. Harsh black charcoal scrubbed daily is slow ruin wearing the costume of old wisdom, and being old does not make it safe. The old people's lost it to it too. The stick is your daily cleaner. Powder is an occasional guest. Scouring powder every day is damage, however they dress it up. One more honest thing the all-natural sellers will never admit, and I say it because I would rather you keep your teeth than be impressed by me. The stick and salt and neem clean superbly. They sweep the film, fight bacteria, heal the gum, freshen the breath. But the modern paste carries one thing they do not, a substance that hardens the enamel itself against rot, soaking into the surface so it resists the acids that drill holes in teeth. It has measurably cut tooth decay everywhere it is used. The stick does not give you that. So I will not pretend the old ways do everything paste does. They clean as well or better and cost nothing, but they do not armor the tooth against decay. That matters most where sweet food and drink are everywhere and teeth rot fastest. The sensible path is to take the stick's cleaning and gum healing and still get that hardening protection some other way, and keep seeing a dentist, whose eyes catch rot while it is small, which no stick or powder can do. Take the best of the old and the new. Pride in either one is foolish. And one piece of timing, because it is free and almost no one does it right. The most important clean of the day is the last one, at night, before sleep. Because while you sleep, your mouth goes dry, the saliva that defends your teeth all but stops, and whatever you left on them feeds the bacteria undisturbed for hours in the dark. A mouth cleaned well at night is defended through its weakest time. A mouth cleaned in the morning and left dirty at night rots through every single night. If you only properly clean once, make it the night one. And after that night clean, eat and drink nothing but water, or you haven't done it. Now the bigger thing. If a twig cleans teeth as well as the brush and tube, why were you never told? Why is it not on the shelf beside them? The flattering answer is that someone is hiding it. I do not believe that. The real answer is sharper. A twig cannot be owned. Nobody can brand a branch or sell you next month a stick you cut yourself off a tree by the road. But a plastic brush wears out 4 times a year, a tube empties and is bought again, and so there is endless money to put both in front of your eyes on every screen and in every child's hand until you cannot imagine cleaning your teeth any other way. The stick just grows, owned by no one, earning no one a coin, so no one is paid to mention it, and its silence gets mistaken for worthlessness. It is not hidden. It is just quiet, and quiet is what a free thing is in a world where only the things you can be sold again get a voice. The brush is not your enemy and the paste is not poison. But you were told they were the only way, and that was a lie repeated until it made someone rich. Someone who knows a common trick keeps a mouth clean and gum sound, and knows the harsh powder to avoid, and when to see a dentist, and how to read a bleeding gum, is harder to frighten and harder to sell to over the most ordinary care there is. That is the point. My people kept this because the shop was far and the tree was near, and what
Try
you keep
this
because you
Morosi,
must
it
turns
cleans very
out
well.
over and over to be worth keeping.
These are
So
the fresh.
here is what to do. If the toothbrush tree, neem, or a cousin grows near you, and across the hot dry lands they do, sold cheap in markets under 100 names. Get a few sticks and use them for a few weeks. Fresh, bark stripped, chewed to a brush, worked gently in small circles over teeth and gums morning and night, back teeth and inside faces too, and clean your tongue while you are there. Salt water for a sore gum, and clean that gum faithfully instead of avoiding it. Try oil pulling if you like, always spitting it out. Leave the harsh black powders alone, or keep them rare and gentle, because the enamel they grind off never comes back. Keep your dentist, and get the hardening protection if your teeth rot easily. Then tell me below, where do you live, and what did your own people clean their teeth with? A stick, a root, a powder, a leaf? There are scores of them across the world, and I want to hear the one your grandparents used, because telling it is how it survives. I read every one. Next time, since we are on the mouth, I will show you what my grandmother chewed after a heavy meal to settle a sour stomach and sweeten the breath, the root she was never without, what is in it, and why it works. Until then, clean with the stick, go gentle with any powder, clean the tongue you have been ignoring, and take the best of the old and the new without pride in either.